People always ask me why I quit night shift security after only 3 weeks. I tell them the truth, because it's the only answer that makes sense. I quit because something followed me home. And it all started the night I heard a drowning man begging for help from behind a door that was supposed to be sealed shut forever. Let me take you back. This was 2 years ago, during my senior year of college. I stumbled into an overnight security job at an office complex outside Columbus, Ohio. It was quiet. It was easy money. At least, that's what they told me. On the first night, the manager, Baxter, handed me a ring of keys and gave me the usual rules. Check the halls every hour. Keep the doors locked. Report anything suspicious. Then, on his way out, he turned back and added one final rule. Don't check the basement in Building C. If you hear anything down there, ignore it. He didn't laugh. He didn't wink. He just said it like it was another ordinary instruction. I should have walked out right then. But I needed the job. Rent was overdue. And honestly, I didn't believe him. The complex had 3 buildings, A, B, and C. Most workers went home by 10 p.m., so after that, the entire place belonged to me. The first few hours were calm. Quiet hallways, faint humming from the vending machines, distant traffic outside. But Building C had a different atmosphere. The air felt heavy, the halls were colder, and I always felt like someone had just stepped out of sight when I turned a corner. Around 1:45 a.m., I noticed something odd. Wet footprints. Small, bare footprints on the floor in the hallway, leading toward the basement door. The same basement door Baxter told me not to open. The prints looked fresh, like someone had walked through water seconds before. I radioed Baxter, even though I knew he was off shift. He only texted back one thing: stay away from the basement. Do not open that door. I stared at the message for a long time. Who was going downstairs barefoot? Why were the prints wet? Why only that hallway? But I shrugged it off and kept moving. By 2 a.m., the night had settled again. Everything felt normal, until I heard a voice. It came from down the hall. Soft, weak, barely above a whisper. Hello? Is someone there? I froze. It wasn't echoing. It wasn't distant. It came from behind the basement door. My first thought was that someone was trapped down there, maybe a worker or a janitor. I walked slowly down the hallway. Hello? I called out. The voice answered instantly. Please help me. I felt the hair stand up on my arms. The tone was strange. Not panicked. Not urgent. Just tired. Like the person had been calling out for hours. I cleared my throat. Who's down there? I asked. The reply came fast. Come down. I can't reach the door. My stomach twisted. Something was wrong. The voice sounded rehearsed. Like someone repeating the same line over and over, hoping it would work on someone new. I backed up slowly. My instincts screamed at me. Don't open that door. Don't get any closer. I returned to the lobby, but I couldn't focus. The place felt wrong. Every sound felt amplified. Every shadow seemed to shift. I told myself I was imagining things. Then, around 3 a.m., the lights flickered. Not once, not twice, but 3 long pulses, like something was draining power from the building. The hairs on my neck stood up. I tried to look at my phone, but it froze, then shut off. The security monitors in front of me flickered too. Most cameras were normal, except one. The camera pointing at the basement door. The hallway was dim, but I could still make out a shape. Something tall, something thin, crawling slowly across the floor toward the staircase, like its limbs didn't bend the way a human's limbs should. I stepped away from the desk. My throat felt tight. I couldn't breathe. I grabbed my jacket and tried to calm myself. It's the camera glitching. It's nothing. It's nothing. But the lights flickered again. A cold breeze brushed the back of my neck. And I heard it. A wet sound. Behind me. Like footsteps stepping into puddles. I didn't turn around. I forced myself to walk, fast, and headed toward the exit. Halfway through the lobby, I heard something metal slam inside Building C. Something moving fast. Something coming up the stairs. I sprinted. My keys almost slipped out of my hand as I reached my car. I threw myself inside, locked the door, and stared at the building's glass entrance. And there it was. The figure, standing behind the glass. Silent, tall, head tilted, watching me. I backed out of the lot so fast I nearly hit a pole. I didn't look back. Not once. The next morning, Baxter called me. His voice was shaky. You quit, right? I told him yes. He let out a slow breath. Good. Then he told me what really happened. Years ago, a maintenance worker drowned in the basement. A pipe burst. Water filled the lower level. He tried to get out, but the door jammed. He died before anyone found him. They sealed the basement permanently, drained it, locked it, but people still heard him, sometimes calling for help, sometimes begging, sometimes whispering the same lines he used on the night he died. "Come down. I can't reach the door." I felt sick. "Why does the camera show something crawling up?" I asked. Baxter hesitated. Then he whispered. He didn't die standing. He died pulling himself across the floor through the rising water, trying to get to the door. I felt ice crawl down my spine. I told Baxter about the footprints, the wet sound, the lights flickering. He didn't seem surprised. He tries to get out. He calls to anyone who'll listen. And if someone listens long enough, he follows. I still get chills thinking about that night. Because the worst part, the part that made me quit security forever, happened 2 nights after I left the job. I was lying in bed around 3 a.m. My window was cracked open. It was raining lightly outside. And over the rain, over the soft wind, I heard footsteps, wet footsteps, right outside my apartment door. Soft at first, then louder, like someone dripping water across the hallway floor. I sat up in bed, heart hammering. Then I heard it, a tired, broken whisper. "Hello? Is someone there?" I didn't move, didn't breathe. The footsteps stopped outside my door. Something leaned against it. I could hear the wood creak. Then that same voice spoke again, barely above a whisper. "Please help me." I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. And sometimes, when it rains, when the hallway outside my apartment gets quiet, I swear I hear dripping water. And faint, slow footsteps. Like someone still looking for the door that would have saved him. Like someone still trying to crawl out of the dark. People think hospitals are safe at night. Bright lights, long hallways, doctors and nurses everywhere. A place where life is saved, not taken. But if you've ever worked the night shift in a hospital, really worked it, you know there's a moment every night when the air changes, when the hallways go quiet, when the building feels too empty, and when you start to realize the hospital isn't only full of the living. Some things never left. And I learned that during my 3rd week as an overnight transport assistant. It still feels wrong to talk about it. But if you work nights, you should hear this. This happened in 2021 at a mid-sized hospital in upstate New York. I was a college student trying to save money, so I took a job moving patients, equipment, and supplies between floors during the night shift. The job itself wasn't scary. It was tiring, repetitive, but not scary. At least, not until I got assigned to the old wing. They still used that wing for storage and overflow rooms, but most of it was abandoned. Paint peeling off the walls, lights flickering, strange temperature drops. You could tell it used to be full of life, but now it felt forgotten. On my first night in the old wing, the supervisor told me something that didn't make sense. "If you hear a call bell from room 221 after midnight, ignore it." I frowned. "Why?" He looked right at me. "Nobody stays in that room. The bed was removed years ago. If you hear anything from there, just walk the other way." His voice was steady, but his eyes weren't. That should have been enough for me to quit. But rent was rent, and my hours were locked. So I nodded and started my shift. Around 12:30 a.m., I was pushing a wheelchair down the hallway when I heard something faint behind me. A soft ding. The call bell chime. Very distinct. Very sharp. Every hospital worker knows that sound. But it wasn't coming from any of the rooms that were occupied. It came from the old wing. The empty side. The hallway nobody wanted. My stomach tightened. I told myself I was imagining it. Then the call bell chimed again. Ding. Clear. Lonely. Patient-level volume. I walked slowly toward the source, even though everything in me said not to. Another ding. I turned the corner. The call light above room 221 was glowing. Bright red. The room with no bed. No equipment. No patients. The room the supervisor specifically warned me about. For a second, I thought it was some kind of malfunction. Old wiring. Dust. Something harmless. But then I heard a voice. A woman's voice. Weak. Shaky. Barely above breathing. "Hello? Can someone help me?" I froze. I wasn't imagining it. Someone was inside room 221. I stepped closer. "Ma'am, are you okay?" I asked. The voice answered immediately. "Please. I'm so cold." Her words didn't sound normal. They sounded practiced. Like she'd been repeating them for a long time. I felt my heartbeat rising. "Are you hurt? I can get help." She whispered back, even closer to the door now. "No, don't leave. Please, don't leave me alone again." A chill crawled slowly up my spine. Something about the way she said again made my stomach twist. I put my hand on the door handle. It was ice cold, freezing, like it had been in a refrigerator. Before I could turn the handle, a nurse named Julie grabbed my arm. She was pale, wide-eyed, out of breath. "What are you doing?" she whispered harshly. "I heard someone calling for help," I said. She shook her head so fast her hair swung. No, you didn't. No one is in that room." I heard a woman's voice. Her expression changed. Not disbelief, fear. Then she said something that still keeps me up at night. "She asked you not to leave, didn't she?" My blood ran cold. "How do you know that?" I whispered. Julie didn't answer. She just pulled me away from the door and told me not to go near that room ever again. She didn't explain anything, and I didn't ask, but I couldn't stop thinking about the voice. Who was she? Why was she calling for help? Why that room? The rest of the night, I tried to stay busy, moving equipment, delivering charts, avoiding the old wing altogether. But around 3 a.m., the entire hospital went eerily quiet. No monitors beeping, no carts rolling. Even the air vents sounded softer. And then, a soft ding. My head snapped toward the old hallway. The call light for room 221 was on again. I felt tears prick the back of my eyes. Not from sadness, from sheer dread. The voice came again. But this time, it wasn't soft. It was right behind the door. "Please, I'm cold." I started walking backward. The hallway felt like it was shrinking around me. Then the voice changed. It sounded closer, right against the door. "Don't leave me." Then it grew sharper, angrier. "Don't leave me." The lights flickered. My ears rang. I stumbled and dropped my clipboard. And the moment the lights steadied, the call light turned off. Complete silence. Just like someone hanging up a phone. I didn't sleep the next day. I couldn't. That voice replayed in my mind over and over. That night, before my next shift, I searched for any information about room 221. And I found it. A woman died in that room almost 15 years ago. A long-term patient. Bedridden. Rare condition. She was often alone at night because the unit was understaffed. One night, she rang her call bell over 40 times. Nobody came for her. She died shortly before sunrise. Cold. Alone. Still holding the call button. The hospital shut the room down a year later. They removed the bed, the equipment, everything. But the call bell? It was still wired into the system. Still functional. And maybe her voice. Maybe the last emotion she ever had. Fear, abandonment. Never left. I didn't want to go in that night. But I needed the hours. I kept my route tight. Stayed far from the old wing. It was around 3:15 a.m., the same time as before, when I heard something behind me. Not a call bell. Not a whisper. Footsteps. Soft. Dragging. Slow. I turned. The hallway was empty. But the temperature dropped instantly. My breath fogged. Then I saw movement. A hand. A pale hand sliding slowly around the corner from the old wing. Not a full person. Just a hand. Fingers trembling. Reaching. Searching. I stepped back and almost fell. The hand pulled out of view. Slowly. Like whatever it belonged to was crawling, not standing. Then her voice traveled down the hallway. "Please, don't leave." I ran. I didn't clock out. I didn't explain. I just ran out of the hospital and sat in my car shaking until sunrise. I quit the next morning. Didn't pick up my last paycheck. Didn't return my badge. But the worst part didn't happen there. It happened 3 nights later. I was lying in bed. Lights off. Room quiet. Around 3:20 a.m., my phone lit up. A call. Unknown number. I shouldn't have answered. But half asleep, I did. I pressed the phone to my ear and heard a soft ding. A hospital call bell. Then her voice. That same tired, lonely whisper. "Please, don't leave me again." The call disconnected. My room went silent. And I realized something that still keeps me awake at night. She wasn't trapped in room 221 anymore. She found someone new to call. Someone who heard her voice. Someone who picked up her call. Someone she refuses to let leave. Someone like me. People think security guards have it easy. Sit at a desk. Watch cameras. Drink coffee. Stay awake. But that's what people imagine during the day. Night shift security is different. When the parking lots empty out. When every hallway echoes. When the only voices you hear are your own footsteps. You start to understand that buildings don't sleep. They remember. And some nights, they remember things you don't want to know. I worked security at a community college in Arizona. Not a huge place. Not tiny either. Just a normal college with a few old buildings, a few new ones, and a bunch of students who always forgot their ID cards. My shift was midnight to 6 a.m. Most nights were boring. I'd walk the halls, check the labs, log door alarms, and mostly count the minutes until sunrise. But there was one building, the Humanities Annex, that everyone hated. Even day staff avoided it. Nobody said why. They'd just call it that hallway or the annex and change the subject. It was the only building on campus with classrooms that didn't have windows. Just long rooms. Long hallways. No natural light. Students complained about flickering lights, bad ventilation, weird smells. Normal stuff, or so I thought. Until the night the cameras caught someone walking inside the annex. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. This was around 2:30 a.m. I was in the main security office watching monitors when I saw movement on Annex Camera 4. At first, I thought it was a student who stayed late. But the footage made no sense. The figure was walking slowly down the hallway, but the floor sensors weren't triggering. The motion detector stayed dark, and the person was wearing clothes that looked off. Not old, not torn, just wrong, like they didn't belong to this decade. I leaned closer to the screen. The figure stopped and turned toward the camera. Their face wasn't visible. It was blurred, like the camera couldn't focus. Not pixelated, not distorted, just blurred. I called my partner on duty, Luis. He'd been working security there for 8 years. Someone's walking in the annex, I said. Camera 4. He froze. Didn't move. Didn't blink. Then he said, "No one should be in that hallway. Lock the door behind you. I'll take the east end." I expected him to say it casually, but he sounded scared. We met up outside the annex building. The place always felt colder than the rest of campus. I unlocked the main entrance, pushed the door open, and immediately felt a rush of cold air hit my face. Like stepping into a freezer. The hallway lights flickered overhead. The whole building hummed like old electrical wires struggling to stay awake. We walked quietly. Our footsteps echoed in a way I'd never heard before. Too sharp, too hollow. We reached the midpoint of the hallway where the camera had shown the figure. Nothing. Just empty floor. But when I looked down the hall, something felt wrong. The exit door at the far end was slightly open. Not wide. Just enough that darkness leaked around the frame. "Did you open that?" I whispered. Luis shook his head. He looked uncomfortable. Not physically, emotionally. Like the air itself bothered him. He whispered, "We shouldn't be in here." Before I could ask why, a loud slam echoed from behind us. We both spun. The exit door at the far end had shut on its own. Hard. The lights flickered fast, almost strobing. And then we heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Bare. Skin on tile. Not from in front of us. Not behind us. From the ceiling. A faint tapping. Like someone crawling above the ceiling panels. Luis grabbed my arm. Hard. "We're leaving," he said. But I'd already seen something that froze me in place. One of the overhead panels slightly lifted. Just enough to show darkness above it, and something pale pressed against it. Like fingers. Not real fingers. Too thin. Too long. 3 of them curled slowly over the edge of the panel. I whispered, "What is that?" Luis didn't answer, because he was staring at something else. The hallway lights went out. Pitch black. Then a slow, dragging sound echoed behind us. Something pulling itself across the floor. I fumbled for my flashlight. Turned it on. The beam hit the floor. And in the center of the hallway, someone was lying there. Face down, arms at their sides, completely still. A cold wave ran through my chest. Luis whispered, "Don't move." My flashlight flickered. The figure on the floor twitched. Not a full movement, just a tiny shift of the head. Then another. Then its arms bent, backwards. Like the joints didn't know which way they were supposed to bend. My breath caught in my throat. The thing pushed itself up slowly. Too slowly. Like it didn't understand how to stand. Its head stayed down, hair covering its face. Then it lifted its head toward us. And even with the flashlight shaking in my hand, I saw its face, or what should have been a face. There were no eyes, no nose, no mouth. Just smooth, pale skin. A face with everything missing. My legs almost gave out. Luis grabbed my shoulder. "Don't look at it. Walk backward. Don't look at it." The thing started crawling toward us. Fast. Hands slapping the floor, arms bending wrong, head tilted like it was sensing us instead of seeing. I backed up fast, my chest tightening, breath shaking. Luis whispered something I could barely hear. "It's not supposed to leave the annex." His voice trembled. It wasn't a warning. It was something he'd been told before, something he believed. We made it to the main doors. I shoved one open, then froze. The glass door reflected us. Me, Louise, and something behind us, standing upright now, right in the center of the hallway. No face, just skin, its head tilted toward us like it was listening. I didn't turn around. I just ran. We sprinted out of the building, letting the heavy doors slam shut behind us. I kept running until my lungs burned. Louise stopped first, hands on his knees, gasping. I yelled, "What the hell was that?" He wouldn't look at me. Then he said quietly, "You weren't the first to see it." That sentence hit me harder than anything else. He told me the annex was built over a demolished building from the 1960s. A building where a student died under strange circumstances. A student whose face was badly damaged. Some people said he never left. Some said he wandered the building at night, confused, angry. But Louise said something different. He tries to copy shapes. He tries to copy people. But he can't get the face right. So he takes it. A shiver ran down my spine. "What does that mean?" I asked. Louise stared at me, eyes tired. "It means if you ever see him again, don't let him get close to you. If he touches your face, you won't have one anymore." I quit 2 weeks later. I switched colleges, moved across the state, changed my number. But some nights, around 3 a.m., when my apartment is quiet, I hear something outside my door. A slow, wet dragging sound. Not feet. Hands. Pulling across the floor. Searching. Pausing outside my room. Then sliding away. Like something is learning how to walk. Trying to understand the shape of my face. Trying to remember where it saw me last. And I pray every night that the annex is far enough away, that it never learns the way to my door.